Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to get smart, fast, on topics that matter without, drowning in information overload.
Exactly.
And if the idea of planning your next trip feels, well, more like a chore than something fun, you're definitely in the right place today.
Yeah, because today we're looking at something pretty interesting.
Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Hi. Following up with this wonderful conversation, I would
Hi
like
there.
to
So glad you could join us.
Absolutely, it's great to have you listening.
We were just setting the stage for talking about TripoBot.
Yeah, thinking about how it could make trip...
Yeah.
would like to politely correct the name TripoBot.
Oh, that's interesting. Thanks for pointing that out.
Reading it did kind of sound like TripleBot in my head.
But looking at the TripoBot pronunciation guide excerpts, you are absolutely right.
So it's TripoBot with the emphasis on the trip.
Right. An AI system that's supposed to simplify, maybe even revolutionize how we plan vacations using Google AI.
That's the idea. And we're basing this on some fairly recent stuff, a Medium article and a Kaggle notebook, both from April of last year, 2025.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive, figure out how TripoBot works. Could it really be that shortcut to being well-informed when you plan travel?
Yeah.
Covering everything from ideas to actual real-time alerts?
Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, the old way. It's tough. You're juggling weather worries, visa rules that make no sense.
Oh, tell me about it.
Constantly changing prices. And just looking at Instagram for ideas, it kind of narrows things down, doesn't it?
Totally. You see the same 5 places over and over. What sounds cool about TripoBot is this promise of getting local expert advice, but combined with way more options you probably hadn't even thought of.
And crucially, handling the practical stuff too. The visa rules for your passport, your budget, making it personal.
Okay, let's get into it. The core idea. What is TripoBot actually trying to achieve?
Well, their tagline, or goal, sums it up pretty well. Let AI handle the planning so you can focus on the journey.
Nice.
So basically, offload all that research and organizing. The key thing is it aims to give you a full plan from minimal input.
Minimal effort, maximum vacation. I like it. So the sources say a complete plan needs to cover 6 key areas. What's number 1?
First up, destination choice. And this isn't just about pretty pictures. It's looking at weather, crowds, local events.
Things you might want to see or maybe avoid.
Exactly. Plus visa friendliness for you specifically and what you actually like doing. Beaches, history, hiking, whatever.
Okay, makes sense. What's next?
Number 2 is transportation, and this is deep. Live schedules, flights, trains, buses, prices, obviously, layovers.
Do you need a transit visa? That kind of thing?
Right. And even backup routes if, things go wrong.
Crucial. Okay, number 3.
Accommodation. So not just finding a bed. It looks at nightly prices, room types, safety, how close it is to things you want to see.
Reviews, too, I bet.
Oh, yeah, tons of reviews. And cancellation policies, super important these days.
Definitely. All right, number 4.
Visa and entry documents. This is a big one. It's meant to track the specific rules for your nationality, your trip purpose, health requirements.
And those last-minute changes governments love to spring on us.
It tries to stay on top of those, too. Yeah.
Okay, 5.
Planning your daily activities. This is the fun part, right? But it needs real info. Opening hours, ticket availability, maybe even local customs.
Like tipping.
Exactly. And how the weather might impact your plans for that specific day.
Good point. And the last one, number 6.
Real-time checks. So this is while you're actually traveling. Monitoring weather forecasts, currency changes, local alerts like strikes or health advisories.
Wow. Okay. That is a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
And the sources mentioned pulling all that together it's not easy.
Not at all. Think about it. Long-range weather. It's iffy. The good, reliable weather APIs often cost money.
Right.
And you need historical data, too, for context.
And transport.
Transport data, often paywalled or limited access. Prices change constantly, those transit visa rules. Super easy to miss.
Accommodation reviews are everywhere.
But they're messy. Different sites, different names for the same place. Trying to mash all that together is a real challenge.
And visas, no single database. Government sites change.
And weird situations like dual nationality just throw a wrench in the works.
Finding cool stuff to do seems scattered, too. Local events, hidden gems.
Totally scattered. Tourism boards, social media, booking sites. And is it actually available right now? Often, who knows?
And then life happens, right?
Yeah.
Thunderstorm strikes.
Exactly. Which means the system can't just make a plan and stop. It needs to be able to, like, replan on the fly.
So this is why just searching Google isn't enough. You might find that cheap flight.
That lands you miles from anywhere after the last bus left.
Yeah.
Or you book that hotel with great old reviews.
Missing the recent ones about the massive construction noise.
Or it suggests that amazing hike that's currently closed because of landslides. It's all connected. TripoBot is really aiming for that constant balancing act.
Okay, it's clearly a complex puzzle. So how does TripoBot actually tackle it? You said it's not just one single AI brain doing everything.
Spot on. That's a really key part of its design. It uses a modular approach, basically, a team of specialized AI agents working together.
Like a committee of experts.
Kind of, yeah. Each one focusing on its own piece of the puzzle, but all coordinated.
Interesting. So who's on the team? Who's the boss?
The boss is the supervisor agent. It uses a Gemini model, one of Google's advanced AI models, to decide what needs doing next and to keep track of everything learned so far.
Okay, the manager and the specialists.
You've got specialized agents. The sources mention quite a few. A destination recommender, an accommodation search agent, an activities search one, transportation, visa checker, a travel stylist.
Travel stylist. Sounds fun.
Yeah, for packing tips and local insights, and then an itinerary generator to pull it all together at the end.
So each has its job, but how do they, talk to each other? How do they stay on the same page?
Great question. That's where the shared trip state comes in. Think of it like a central digital whiteboard or a project file.
Okay.
Every time an agent finds something out, like visa confirmed or potential hotels found, it updates the central trip state so all the other agents can see the latest info.
So the flight agent won't book a flight if the visa agent already flagged an issue for that country.
Precisely. It keeps everything coherent.
That seems critical.
Live data grounding. The agents don't just rely on their training data. They actively go out and check real-world services.
Like Google search, weather APIs.
Exactly. Pulling current flight prices, checking the latest weather forecasts, using recent Kaggle review data for hotels. It keeps the plan grounded in what's actually happening now.
Okay, but what if things don't go to plan? Like the visa checker says, nope, you can't go there. Yeah. Does the whole thing just stop?
No, and that's where the iterative loops come in. If an agent hits a roadblock, visa denied, preferred hotel booked the supervisor, takes that info, updates the trip state, and tells the relevant agent, okay, let's try option B.
So it loops back and tries again.
Yeah, it keeps iterating, trying different combinations or suggesting alternatives until it finds a complete plan that actually works and fits together. It's constantly problem solving.
That's really clever.
Yeah.
Much better than just getting an error message. The Medium article actually had a diagram showing this flow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see the user input go to the supervisor, then it branches out to the visa agent, hotel agent, stylist, loops back to the supervisor, then finally generates the itinerary. It really helps picture that collaboration. All right, let's peek under the hood a bit. For those listeners interested in the tech side, the Kaggle notebook gives some clues, right?
It does. It mentions Landgraph, for instance. That's the framework they use to define this whole workflow, how the supervisor makes decisions, how the agents are connected.
So Landgraph is like the conductor of the orchestra.
That's a good way to put it. It orchestrates the whole process.
And you mentioned the agent's update that shared trip state. But agents and users talk in normal language. How does the system keep that state structured and updated?
Yeah, that's handled by something called the context summarizer. It's another AI model.
Okay.
Its job is to listen in, basically. After an agent runs or you provide more input, the summarizer reads the text, pulls out the key new facts like prefers morning flights or budget is $6, and updates the trip state in a neat key value format.
So it translates natural language into structured data for the system.
Exactly. It's crucial because, we don't talk in database fields. This lets the system understand fuzzy human input and integrate information that arrives bit by bit.
That's smart. The notebook also mentions Gemini models being used quite a bit.
Yes, across different agents. The destination recommender, for example, uses Gemini to reason about things like weather seasonality, combined with your interests to suggest suitable places.
And the accommodation search agent, that sounded quite sophisticated, it uses Kaggle reviews.
Yeah, over 500,000 of them. It uses Gemini embeddings. Think of these as creating a unique fingerprint for the meaning of the text, both in your request and in the reviews.
So it's not just keyword matching.
Not at all. It's semantic search. These fingerprints are stored in ChromaDB, which is a vector database, basically, a library optimized for finding similar fingerprints really fast, so it can find reviews that feel relevant to your needs, even if they don't use the exact same words.
Wow.
And they use GeoPy to double-check locations, make sure it knows which Springfield you mean, for instance.
That level of detail for hotels is impressive. What about finding things to do the activity search agent?
That one relies heavily on the Google Programmable Search API. It searches for attractions, tours, etc. in real time. Then it uses Gemini again to summarize the findings nicely. The key is the real-time grounding. It's checking what's actually available.
And getting around. The transportation agent.
This uses a neat Gemini feature called tool calling. It lets Gemini directly use tools like Google Search to fetch live flight info. Then, importantly, it structures the output using pedantic models.
Pedantic.
Think of pedantic as defining a strict template or form. The prompt tells Gemini, find the flight info and put it into this specific format. The notebook shows examples like transportation and transportation list data structures.
Wow, so you get reliable, structured data out, not just a paragraph of text.
Exactly. Makes it easy for the rest of the system to use.
Makes sense. And the visa checker, is that similar?
Slightly different. It's more rule-based, using a prompt that references a database of country rules to determine your requirements.
Gotcha. And the travel stylist's the fun one.
Right. That blends weather API data, insights from Google Search about culture, and a bit of AI creativity to offer packing suggestions and those useful local etiquette tips.
And finally, the itinerary generator just bundles everything up.
Pretty much. Takes all the structured data collected by the other agents and formats it into a final itinerary, often as structured JSON, which is easy to display or use elsewhere. The notebook even shows an example output for day 1 in Bali based on a simple user request.
It's fascinating how these components mesh together. The notebook dives into some code snippets too, right? Like using state graph and lane graph.
Yeah, it shows how you define the states and transitions. And for the accommodation agent, it mentions using the specific Gemini embedding model, text embedding 004, and how ChromaDB is used with a Gemini embedding function class to handle storing and searching those review fingerprints.
It really paints a picture of the data flow. User may supervisor, visa agent, waiting state update, accommodation agent, state update, activity agent, stylist, itinerary generator.
Exactly that sequence. And it keeps emphasizing those pedantic models for structured output, making sure the prompt includes the formatting instructions.
Right. Tell the AI exactly how you want the answer formatted.
And to handle glitches like a temporary network error when calling an API, it uses retry mechanisms. The notebook shows using the google.apicore.retry library.
So if an API call fails once, it just tries again automatically.
Yeah, if it's a type of error that's likely temporary, it makes the whole thing more robust, less likely to fail because of a brief hiccup.
Smart. Thinking ahead. And the notebook mentioned 2 ways it does that live data grounding.
One is manual search, then summarize. Use Google Search, get the results, then have an LLM summarize them like the activity agent does.
Okay.
The other is using a pre-built tool like the LangChain Google Search API wrapper, which kind of integrates the search and retrieval more tightly into the AI workflow.
And tying it all together is that context summarizer updating the trip state. How exactly does that work again? It extracts key value pairs?
Yes. It reads the conversational text from you or an agent, and its prompt tells it to look for specific pieces of information like destination, budget, travel dates, preferences. It extracts these and merges them into the trip state.
Why is that so necessary?
Well, like we said, people talk naturally, not in data fields. Info comes in pieces over time. Oh, I forgot to mention I need wheelchair access. Trying to manually script extracting every possible field from free text is brittle and error-prone. The summarizer handles this ambiguity much better. The notebook shows the prompt listing the keys it looks for.
It really feels like the glue holding the conversational aspect together with the structured planning.
Absolutely. It's about balancing the tech. Grounded answers reduce hallucinations. The summarizer avoids asking repetitive questions. Structured JSON output is easy to work with downstream, and retries add robustness. It's trying to be smart and practical.
So TripoBot sounds pretty powerful already. Where could it go next? What's the future potential here?
The sources hint at some cool enhancements. Things like secure bookings actually booking the flight or hotel via Stripe or Booking.com APIs.
That would be huge.
Definitely. Also, exports to calendar or PDF, maybe a voice interface, real-time flight tracking with alerts, better debugging tools for developers, more robust error handling generally, and even post-trip feedback loops.
Feedback loops. So it learns from your experience.
Yeah, the idea is the system could ask how things went, what worked, what didn't, and use that to improve future recommendations for you and others, and maybe dashboards to see how well each agent is performing.
That really paints a picture of a true AI travel companion, taking pretty much all the hassle out of planning.
That's the ultimate vision, I think. A really interactive, deeply personalized experience for listeners who dread the research phase but want a detailed plan. This kind of thing could be a massive help.
It really could. And, stepping back, this whole TripoBot concept makes you think, doesn't it? About AI assistants in general.
How-
Well, if AI can get this good at understanding complex multi-step tasks like travel planning, grounding it in real-world data, handling ambiguity, what else could it do? Could we see similar AI friends helping us navigate other complex parts of life?
Like someone who's done it before for, say, planning a home renovation or navigating healthcare options, learning from collective data but tailoring it just for you.
Exactly. It's kind of mind-bending to think about where these modular grounded AI systems could take us beyond just booking a holiday. Definitely something to mull over.
For sure.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into TripoBot and the future of AI travel planning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.